Greetings. I hope, greetings. I hope all is well. I am trying to broadcast my story today live outside, and I hope my wireless connection is going through okay. So welcome to Storytime with Helen Tinsley, and I hope you're having a blessed day. And so let's begin. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. In the stories that I read every day. I hope this is going through okay and you can see it okay. So our story for today, again, is from The People Could Fly. And the story is called Better Wait Till Martin Comes. Now, here's a story I heard tell about John. And he was a man traveling through one end this country to the other. One time he gets caught after dark. Had no place to stay nearby. There was a tumble-down plantation house on the hill next to a lone pine tree. Real old abandoned mansion. Both house and tree were twisted. Seemed to John he heard the place was haunted. John didn't worry much about haunts. He knew himself to be a good man and he knew his prayers. Expect I better take shelter up there in the big house, he thought. The sky do look cloudy. Think it might rain before morning. So John walked over the weedy ground past the tree. He heard that skinny pine moan. Then it meowed at him. John looked straight ahead. If there were haunts in the tree, they wasn't going to catch him looking. He went ahead on inside the old plantation house. All old houses like that whisper. Empty rooms, and this moaned as well. Wind through the cracks, John paid no mind to the forlorn sounds. He found plenty of dry wood on the hearth next to the fireplace, and soon he had a crackling warm fire going too. That's the best fire I ever made, if I do say so myself, he spoke out loud to keep himself company. John found a broken down chair. It would hold his weight a minute, so he sat down in it. And after time, he was most comfortable there in the empty, whispering, moaning plantation house. He was safe against any storm. He folded his hands and he said his prayers over to himself for good measure. Shortly, something come up behind John. Then it walked on by him. It was a black, shiny cat walking in out of the rain. It was blacker than night and blacker than coal too, that black cat was. And it eased over to the fireplace. And it sat right down in the fire. Picked up a red-hot coal in its paws and stuck out its tongue and licked at the coal. Just like licking some milk, it did too lick that red-hot coal. John not saying a word, not paying that cat any mind at all. He had cats at home, but none lived in his house. None sat down in a blazing fire and licked up a hot coal. He said his prayers like he was supposed to, but a little faster now. As quick as a crack of the fire, a long shadow fell over John. It walked around him. The shadow turned out to be a big cat too, only this cat was no kind of house cat. This cat was big as a hunting dog, black as coal and his collar first standing up on his shoulders. The great big cat sat down in the fire and picked up a live red coal, and he dusted his cheeks with it like that burning coal, just a powder puff. He powders his nose with it, and as proper as you please. Then that big, ugly cat turned to the first one. He's smacking his lips. The big cat says, "Are we ready?" And at first, the regular cat says, "We better wait till Martin comes." Well, poor John moves himself then. Has to, but the broken down chair is weak. His seat falls in. John is stuck in the chair. Can't pull himself out without making a lot of noise. Something tells him to keep still and say his prayers. He says them as fast as he can, hardly making a sound. and the big hunting dog cat and the little red cat get on up out of the burning fire. They stand on the hearth and pat out the smoke, shake out the ashes, and come on over, sit right down on each side of John. Poor John stays as still and as twisted up as that haunted tree outside, saying his prayers clear through, whispering as fast as he can go and not moving his mouth at all. The next minute, there comes walking in behind him and around a cat 12 times bigger than the other two and as big as a timber wolf. This has to be Martin, John is thinking, but he won't say a sound, too scared. The timber cat walks over and sits down in the fire, just like the other cats did. He sits down in the fire just like the other cats did, and he picks up the live coal and he puts it right on his slanted green eyes. He dusts his eyeballs with it, and he turns around to the other cats sitting on each side of John. The timber cat says to the other cats, "Put him there," and looks straight dead at John. And the other cats say right back all in one meow, "We better wait till Martin comes." With that, John gives a great heave up. The chair comes up with him, but at least he was up, and he runs out the wide open front door. He's calling us. He goes out flying, "Mr. Katz, you tell Martin I was here, but I couldn't wait on him, and now I'm gone." And he was long gone and never seen in that country again. And that, my dear friends, is the story of Better Wait Till Martin Comes. Now, a little about it. This is a comic scare tale, story, widely known in America among all peoples, and was told for many years on the stage by comedian Bert Williams. The theme of the person who accepts a dare or decides to stay in a haunted place is a favorite of the early ghost tale teller. The animals involved are sometimes monkeys, a gorilla, cats, a timber wolf, a mule, a tiger, or a calf, among others. The huge animal or being for whom the preacher or salesman or simply I is too terrified to wait is known in versions as Emmett, Rufus, John, Martin, Caleb, Wallum Ballum, and Willie, or whatever other name the teller cares to use. And that, my dear friends, is the story of Better Wait Till Martin Comes. That was another selection of American Black folk tales from the folk tales by Virginia Hamilton in The People Could Fly. And I hope you enjoyed that story for today. And remember to take time and keep your mind active, keep your body in motion, and have some peace and quiet and calm in your life. So stories are a good way to bring calm in our life and a respite from everything going on. There's a lot going on in the world today. There's a lot going on in our society today. There's a lot of unpleasantries. There's a lot of horrors. There's a lot of fears in the midst of coronavirus. So with all of that, we still have to find a way to relax and keep your mind at ease, to find some peace in the middle of this lack of peace. And I hope that I've been instrumental in doing that with you by sharing stories with you for, I don't know, over 80 some odd days. And I will continue